But Bruce Lee's career and life have always been unbelievable, as are the conflicting reports that continue to swirl around his death. He was without question the greatest martial arts expert and the greatest Asian star ever to come to the screen. Bruce Lee combined imposing physical skill with a personal charisma to put the kung fu genre on the movie map worldwide. But at the height of his popularity and in apparently perfect health, Bruce Lee died mysteriously of a brain aneurysm at age 32. Early reports suggested cover-up. Friends withheld the fact that Lee died here in the Hong Kong apartment of an actress, though he was a married father. That actress, who turned to Buddhism to help weather the scorn of legions of Bruce Lee fans and defenders, today insists their relationship was above reproach.
It is sad so few recognize that there can be a bond between a man and a woman which is not sexual. The feelings I had for Bruce were spiritual, almost like my present relationship with Buddha.
But the bigger question, how did Lee die? The inconclusive autopsy report did not explain the cause of the aneurysm that Lee suffered. But a one-time student of Lee's who is researching Lee's life for a movie he hopes to produce claims Lee's sudden death came at others' hands.
My personal feelings are that he was killed, that he was assassinated. There are certain people in the film community in Hong Kong that saw him as a very big threat.
Lee did have opponents. He was a perfectionist with a hot temper. But this man, who co-starred with Lee in 3 films and is today a successful real estate executive, says the notion of anyone doing in Bruce Lee is absurd.
Complete hogwash. I don't believe that for a minute. Bruce Lee was a gold mine. There's no way that they're going to kill their golden goose. But there was no evidence of that. There was no hint of that. I don't believe it for a minute.
But one man suggests that Bruce Lee, in effect, killed himself. At the time of Lee's death, traces of cannabis, the drug in marijuana and hashish, were found in Lee's system. Lee's physician claims Lee had been hospitalized 2 months before his death for collapse due to an adverse reaction to cannabis.
I think Bruce died from the effects of cannabis. I think he was a person who had either some unusual physiologic reaction to the use of the, if we want to call it a drug or a medication.
As with many stars who die young, Bruce Lee's premature demise led to rampant speculating. Author Alex Ben Block, in writing his book about Lee, uncovered a variety of exotic theories about Lee's death. Among them, the mystical theory of the vibrating palm.
The vibrating palm theory is that each person's body, every cell is vibrating at a certain frequency, and that these Oriental masters have perfected an ability to touch someone and change the vibration of their body in such a way that after some period of time which they've calculated, that person will literally drop dead.
For now, through his stature on screen, his tragic death, and his ties to the mysterious Orient, Bruce Lee remains, for his millions of fans worldwide, a living legend. And the legend lives on in the form of Lee's 24-year-old son, Brandon. He has starred in several martial arts movies, including the 1986 TV movie Kung Fu opposite David Carradine.
Movies. Bruce Lee was known as the Little Dragon. He only starred in 6 films, but Lee packed a powerful punch at the box office. Now producers think the legend of Bruce Lee will attract fans to a movie about his life. Nearly 20 years after his death, Bruce Lee remains the world's most famous and most imitated kung fu film star. Now, Dragon, a film being shot in Bruce's home city of Hong Kong, tells the life story of this legendary star.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Film producer Fred Weintraub, who plays himself in the film, remembers life with Bruce on the set of the movie Enter the Dragon.
Guys would come up to Bruce, and they had a thing where they stomped twice, and they hit their hands, and they went like that, and that meant, let's fight. And Bruce would fight, and I'd grab him, literally. I mean, you know, I couldn't really do much with him because he was so fast and wiry. And I'd say, Bruce, this is a film, and he'd say, let me just take care of this guy. And he'd walk over and he'd beat him up.
Robert Wagner, who plays a producer in the film, also knew the martial arts fighter.
I remember him very vividly. He was a tremendous person, and he was this charismatic kind of man.
Jason Scott Lee, no relation to Bruce, plays the kung fu master. Even though most of the fight scenes are staged, Jason studied martial arts for 4 months to get the technique just right.
Action!
A stunt double is called in for the more difficult maneuvers.
I wasn't quite sure I was up to the physical part of the physical aspect of the role.
Still, Jason enjoys pushing himself to test his limits, much like Lee did in his short life.
He really worked himself and his philosophy into a high level of artistry, very high level.